Nothing and Hearth. Genesis for the Aquarian age. Daze 5. This is a table of the Bruckner Symphonic creative table of the symphonies. I can email any of you if you want a copy of this. It's not that relevant, it's just purely for illustration purposes, but the energy of today, this follows on from the last two videos made the same day. I'm sort of buzzing with this positive feeling, so my hand is shaking somewhat, so we'll go to a blank screen. So let's carry on with Daze 5. So the table shows the 11 symphonies and details the basic versions, names applied to the symphonies by Bruckner or subsequent commentators, but only Symphony No. 4 was officially so named by the composer, the Romantic. I include this as an at-a-glance guide for those who wish to explore Bruckner's symphonies further. Observant readers may recall I mentioned both 23 and 33 different versions, but for simplicity not all are shown. The revised symphonies have both minor and major revisions, and some symphonies, that's number 3 and 4, have completely new composed movements. So to me, I regard each original and revised version as symphonies in their own right. I find it interesting that these symphonies are in what we could refer to as the three periods: the early minor key symphonies, the middle major key, and the later minor key symphonies. That's number 8 and 9. In common with many other composers, Anton Bruckner's compositional voice was not fully established until inspired by Wagner's revolutionary new romantic compositional techniques. Bruckner's earlier symphonies display some reminiscence to Franz Schubert, Ludwig van Beethoven, and perhaps Felix Mendelssohn. Bruckner differs from Wagner in sound, as he employs far less instruments, so there's less orchestral tone colour than that of Wagner. For example, the triangle, piccolo, and cymbals either do not feature at all or are extremely rare in Bruckner's case. The only real significant addition was 4 Wagner tubas to symphonies 7, 8 and 9, which gave a new colour to the orchestral palette. Bruckner is something of a curiosity, his music being two-faced in that in many ways he harks back to the medieval while embracing the new inspired by Wagner. It may seem that we have strayed far from the spiritual message into music history, but please bear with this, as it will be put into context. We turn now to the year 1873 and the premiere of the Third Symphony of Bruckner. The story goes that Bruckner had to conduct this premiere, sort of a last-minute thing. By all accounts, he was not a very confident or assured conductor. It did not go well, the audience leaving during the performance, the handful or so that remained being Bruckner's closest friends, and included Gustav Mahler, a later composer that comes after Bruckner, was in the audience. No doubt the music critic Edward Hunslick, his animosity to Wagner, and that the Third Symphony was dedicated to Wagner, was an influence, in that the Vienna Orchestra declaring the work unplayable. Maybe then, but history says otherwise. Testimony being the number of recordings of Symphony No. 3 by Bruckner that are available. You can find them on YouTube. What can we take from this? Firstly, Bruckner's open-mindedness to building on the past while having the vision to write his music for future times, embracing that new music. The setbacks and failure of the premiere of the Third is saying, keep going, and do not be daunted by external opinions when you feel the calling. Has anyone fully perfected themselves and able to say, I have got all the answers? No, we pursue the perfection in ourselves and continuously revise ourselves. Perhaps the 33-year span of the symphonic output represents our internal rising, the clear comparison being the number of vertebrae in our spines. I am reminded in many passages in Bruckner's symphonies what sounds to me like climbing up a mountain. Just when we reach key points in our awakening, when we realise we have only climbed to a ledge and the summit is still higher, and so with our higher self. But take time before the next brass chorale to do just like these symphonies. Reflect, admire that view, look how far you have already come on your journey. Perhaps you can see that two-faced aspect between the illusory past and future of this realm's experience of human. Perhaps it is the Austrian Alps that can be felt in these symphonies. Perhaps it is the mountains that our conscious left-brain thinking forms. In sound, I feel Bruckner succeeded, not least as an artist, and is, in my view, an archetype we can emulate in the spiritual sense. I do not feel it a stretch of the mind to say that if you can both create and collapse time and space, climb and move or erase mountain ranges, you are creating a new world in your mind. Would not mastery of such create within you the god or goddess that you truly are? It is just a mass amnesia upon humanity, or it is like divorcing Bruckner from one of his artistic creations and only seeing a compact disc as a Bruckner symphony. Another way we can see this is as a compact disc, but without any means to play it. Certainly you have a material, physical form, but the sound world is denied. Does this not mean there is nothing more than the compact disc? And what about you? What natural equipment is within you? What God-given gifts have you got that you can tap into, in other words? Do you think or feel you are just a material, physical being, or is there a previously undetected creation and a creator within you? You have free will, and only you know how any of this feels to you, and of course there is that timelessness that Celibadaka mentions. I would like now to share something with you. I speak here in the metaphorical sense. At the end of this, well, in 3 more days, you will face an examination which you will pass with flying colours. I say examination in 3 days, but I never said in 3 days' time. No, you can have fun with the conducting and express and develop it as you so wish. So being spelt S-O-W. To try and implant it in fertile ground. Make yourself that fertile ground. An examination can be seen in a negative way and become a potential Austrian Alps in the mind. In this perspective, such feeling will attract just such an outcome. Interesting word, outcome. What comes out and from where does it come out? And the opposite, that would be income. Again, what comes in and from where does it come in? So we can take action and conduct our orchestra, responding perfectly when we feel that music and the intent is to show what we can do. We now go full circle because we are not just the orchestra or the conductor, we are also the audience, and the concert hall is within. So within, so without. And our sound goes out. And you will leave this garden, not because you are being banished, but to sow seeds and co-create. Have you yet found in this who is going to examine you? Certainly not me. I do not judge. Tomorrow you will be creating your own symphony. Now how does that feel? And that is the end of Daze 5. Just to allay any concerns and worries, when I say you will write a symphony, you do not need to know or understand how to write music physically, because we are not physically creating this music. This is in sound vibration, this is in feeling, this is in the unseen realm. But if you can do this, if you can see this through and start creating this yourself, let me assure you, and I'm talking from personal experience, and I think the testimony of that last video, the live music one, where I'm conducting as the rehearsal, that's testimony to show how you have that power and how you can create each day. Just take each day as it comes and take no thought. But put thought and feeling into each day and how it will reflect externally. And I think you're on a pretty good path then. This is my experience of it, and this is where I'm going. But it's up to you. It's for those that have the ears to hear and the eyes to see, is it not? So this video may come up on people's notifications. It is of their free will if they wish to hear or see, whether they're entertained, whether they're repelled by it, or whether they wish to take something from it. Just weigh it up for yourself. Put it to the test. As Neville Goddard says, test it for yourselves. Right, I think that's long enough now, and 2 more days to go. And look at that, we're down to 25% battery, and the phone's getting rather warm, so I think it's knowing when to stop to find that balance as well, isn't it? So there you go. Ta-ta for now.